You think time is killing you. Seneca knew the truth 2,000 years ago. You're killing time, and every wasted minute brings you closer to zero. We're taught that life is short, too short, that we never have enough hours in the day, enough years on this earth. That complaint has echoed through every generation since humans could speak. But in 49 AD, a Roman philosopher named Lucius Annius Seneca sat down in his villa outside Rome and wrote something that would shake that complaint to its core. He addressed his father-in-law Paulinus, a man drowning in bureaucracy as Rome's superintendent of grain supply. And he told him flat, "Your problem isn't time, your problem is you." Seneca was born around 4 BC in Cordoba, Spain, Roman citizen, wealthy family. His father, Seneca the Elder, was famous as a rhetoric teacher. Young Seneca came to Rome, studied philosophy under the Stoics, built a career in law and politics. By 54 AD, he was advisor to Emperor Nero. For 5 years, he essentially ran Rome alongside the Praetorian prefect Burrus. Those years were called the Quinquennium Neronis, the good years. But power doesn't last. In 65 AD, Nero turned on him. The Pisonian conspiracy, a plot to assassinate Nero, got exposed. Seneca probably had nothing to do with it. Didn't matter. Nero ordered him dead. Roman custom for elites: you kill yourself, cut your veins, bleed out, die with dignity. Seneca did, at his country villa, with his wife Pompeia Paulina beside him. She tried to die with him, slitting her own wrists. Nero sent soldiers to stop her. She survived, pale and broken for the rest of her life. Seneca? The veins in his arms didn't bleed fast enough. Old age and his frugal diet meant weak circulation. He cut his legs, still slow, took hemlock like Socrates. That didn't work either because the poison couldn't circulate. Finally, they put him in a hot bath, suffocated him with steam. He dictated his thoughts the whole time. Calm, philosophical, exactly like he'd taught. He was roughly 69 years old. He'd spent his life studying how to die. When the moment came, he passed the test. But 11 years before that death, around 49 AD, he wrote De Brevitate Vitae, on the shortness of life. That's where his genius about time sits. Not hidden in complex theory, just there, obvious, brutal, true. If you value documented Stoic philosophy and Roman history like this, subscribe. It's the best way to support our work. Also comment from which city you're hearing this from. Also, this script is researched and factual, using sources from Tacitus's Annals books 13 and 15 published around 109 AD, which detail Seneca's relationship with Nero and his death with eyewitness precision, and from modern scholarship like Miriam Griffin's 1992 work Seneca, A Philosopher in Politics, published by Oxford University Press, which forensically reconstructs the dates and political context of his writings. Now back to the information. Here's what Seneca said. Life isn't short. We make it short. We waste it. The complaint that humans don't live long enough? Garbage. Seneca ripped that apart in his opening paragraphs. Most people, he wrote, complain that nature is mean because our time runs out so fast. Even smart people say it. Even Hippocrates, the greatest physician, said life is short and art is long. Aristotle complained about it. But Seneca called it wrong. Completely wrong. He wrote, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." Think about that. You're not running out of time, you're throwing it away. Seneca argued that if you actually use your time well, life is long. Plenty long. Long enough to achieve the greatest things. But people squander it in luxury, in pointless labor, in chasing things that don't matter. And then, at the end, they realize too late that it's gone. They weren't paying attention. Seneca said, we're not given a short life. We make it short. We're not poorly supplied. We're wasteful. Now here's where Seneca's understanding becomes genius. Most philosophers stopped at, use your time wisely. Generic advice. Seneca went deeper. He broke time into 3 parts: past, present, future. But here's the twist nobody sees coming. Seneca didn't tell you to focus only on the present like you'd expect. He did something far more sophisticated. He mapped each period differently. Each one has its own nature, its own problems, its own possibilities. Present time is short, obviously. A second passes and it's gone. The future? Doubtful, uncertain. You can't guarantee tomorrow, but the past is certain. Seneca wrote in chapter 10 of De Brevitate Vitae, life is divided into 3 periods: that which has been, that which is, that which will be. Of these, the present time is short, the future is doubtful, the past is certain. For the last is the one over which fortune has lost control, is the one which cannot be brought back under any man's power. Read that again. Fortune can't touch the past. The past is yours completely. Nobody can take it. But most people, Seneca observed, don't use it. They're too busy, too engrossed in pointless pursuits. They have no time to look back. And even if they did, they wouldn't want to. Because if you review your past, and it's full of wasted hours, vices disguised as pleasure, ambition that led nowhere, then you're confronted with regret. So people avoid it. They won't look backward unless their conscience is clean, unless their actions stand up to scrutiny. Now watch what Seneca does with the present. The present is short, yes, but here's where people go wrong. They live in the present incompletely. They're distracted, engrossed in things that don't matter. Seneca described them. People who devote their lives to getting things they'll have to work even harder to keep. People who chase promotions, money, status. People whose days are eaten up by other people's demands. No time for themselves, no awareness. They're technically alive but not living. Seneca compared them to a ship that never left harbor, caught in a storm right at the dock, tossed around in circles. Not a long voyage, just a long tossing about. That's most lives. Existing, not living. In the future? The future is where most people actually live. In expectancy, in planning, in postponement. This is the killer insight. Seneca wrote, "Putting things off is the biggest waste of life. It snatches away each day as it comes and denies us the present by promising the future. The greatest obstacle to living is expectancy, which hangs upon tomorrow and loses today. So you're sitting there right now thinking you'll start really living later. When you retire, when you get that promotion, when your kids are older, when you have more money, more time." Seneca saw that 2,000 years ago. He called it the fundamental mistake. You're arranging what lies in fortune's control, the uncertain future, and abandoning what lies in your control, the present moment, right now. He wrote, "The whole future lies in uncertainty. Live immediately. Live immediately." That's not a hashtag. That's the operating principle Seneca built from his understanding of time structure. The present is short, but it's what you have. The future is uncertain, and you might not get it, so act now. But here's the part nobody tells you. Seneca didn't stop there. He didn't just say carpe diem and walk away. He showed you how to actually expand time, how to make a short life long. And the method is insane. It's brilliant. It works. You expand time by annexing the past. Not just your past, all of the past, all of human history. Every philosopher who ever lived, every great mind, every discovery. Seneca wrote in chapters 14 and 15 that people who dedicate their time to philosophy, to studying the great thinkers, to learning from the wisdom of ages, those people live long lives. Because they don't just get their own 70 or 80 years. They get Socrates' years, Plato's years, Aristotle's years, Zeno's, all of them. Seneca wrote, "Of all people, only those are at leisure who make time for philosophy. Only those are really alive. For they not only keep a good watch over their own lifetimes, but they annex every age to theirs. All the years that have passed before them are added to their own." Think about that structure. Intellectually, you can time travel. You sit down with Marcus Aurelius's Meditations, written in 170 AD. You're in his head. You have his experience, his insights. That's his lifetime added to yours. You read Seneca's letters, that's his lifetime. You study Epictetus, Epicurus, the Cynics, the Stoics. Every one of them extends your life backward through time. Seneca claimed this is the only group who truly live, because they combine all time periods into one, past in recollection, present in use, future in anticipation. The wise person, he wrote, is not confined by the same boundaries as others. All ages serve him as though he were a god. Meanwhile, the person who doesn't study philosophy, they lose everything. They lose the past because they don't reflect on it or they're ashamed of it. They lose the present because they're distracted, busy with trivia, living for other people. They lose the future because they fear it or they're so busy planning it they never get there. Seneca called them the engrossed, the occupati, occupied people, preoccupied, busy with nothing. He went through examples, famous Romans, Augustus, the first emperor, Cicero, the great orator, Livius Drusus, a tribune who tried radical reforms. All of them at the end regretted their lives. They had power, wealth, influence. But they spent their years on things that didn't matter. They died having never truly lived. Seneca saved particular contempt for people who waste time on luxury and vice. He described them in chapters 11 and 12. They spend their days in banquets, games, gossip. They're restless because they don't know what to do with themselves. They want the day to pass quickly so they can get to the next entertainment. They literally pray for time to move faster. They want to skip days. Their lives feel long when measured in tedium, but short when they look back, because nothing happened. They existed, that's all. Now here's where Seneca's system gets practical. He wasn't just theorizing, he gave you the method. And it starts with a question. Are you living or existing? Seneca defined living as dedicating your time to things that matter. to philosophy, to self-improvement, to virtue, to studying how to live well. He wrote that learning how to live takes a whole lifetime. And more surprisingly, learning how to die takes a whole lifetime. Because if you don't know how to face death, you don't know how to face life, you'll live in fear. You'll waste your years trying to avoid the inevitable. But if you confront mortality head on, something changes. You realize every day could be your last. You stop postponing. You stop living in that imaginary future where you'll finally have time to do what matters. Seneca wrote, "You live as if you are destined to live forever. No thought of your frailty ever enters your head. Of how much time has already gone by, you take no heed. You squander time as if you drew from a full and abundant supply, though all the while the day which you bestow on some person or thing is perhaps your last." That's the operating system. Remember death, not morbidly. Practically, you're going to die. So is everyone you know. Every single person reading this will be dead within a century, most much sooner. That fact should wake you up. It should make you ruthless about how you spend today. Not tomorrow, today, because tomorrow might not come. Seneca practiced this himself. He journaled every night. After the light was removed and his wife Pompeia Paulina had gone to sleep, he examined his entire day, what he'd done, what he'd said. He hid nothing from himself, passed nothing by. Then he'd go to sleep, and that sleep, he said, was particularly sweet. Because he'd held himself accountable. He'd looked at his time, where it went, where he wasted it, where he used it well. That nightly audit kept him sharp, kept him aware. Most people never do that. They just let day after day slip by unexamined, and then they wonder where their life went. Seneca also had a specific view on how people waste time. He broke it down. First category, people who give their time to others. They're generous with everyone except themselves. They'll meet with anyone, help anyone, take on any obligation, but they guard their money carefully. They'd fight a neighbor over inches of property line, yet they hand out hours and days like they cost nothing. Seneca called this insane. Time is the only thing you can't get back. Money, you can earn more. Property, you can buy more. Time, gone forever. He wrote, "People are frugal in guarding their personal property, but as soon as it comes to squandering time, they are most wasteful of the one thing in which it is right to be stingy." Second category, people chasing ambition, political power, status, fame. Seneca knew this world. He lived in it. For years he operated at the highest levels of Roman power, and he saw clearly what it cost. You sacrifice your life to climb. You spend years doing things you hate, kissing up to people you despise, compromising your values, all to reach some position. And when you get there, you have to work even harder to keep it. You're a slave to your success. Seneca wrote in chapter 4 about Augustus, the founder of the Roman Empire, the most powerful man in the world. At the end of his life, Augustus begged for rest, begged. The emperor who had everything wanted one thing, time to himself. He never got it. He died still working. Third category, people lost in scholarship without purpose. This one surprises people. Seneca valued philosophy, yes, but he attacked scholars who spent their whole lives on meaningless questions. Who wrote Homer's mother was named, how many oarsmen Odysseus had, whether the Iliad or the Odyssey was written first. Trivia. Seneca wrote in chapter 13 that these people are just as foolish as the ones chasing money or power. They're wasting their time on things that don't matter. Philosophy should teach you how to live. If it doesn't do that, it's useless. Fourth category, people absorbed in vice and pleasure. The gamblers, the drunks, the people chasing endless entertainment. They're the most pitiable, Seneca said, because they don't even enjoy their own lives. They're restless, anxious. They lose the day waiting for night and lose the night fearing dawn. They want time to move faster so they can get to the next thrill, but nothing satisfies them. They exist in a state of perpetual dissatisfaction. Now here's the thing about all these categories. They all share one problem. They don't value time. They think they have forever. They postpone what matters. And they never look back to see what they've done. Seneca wrote that these people arrive at death completely unprepared. They realize too late that they've been busy doing nothing. They've spent their whole lives in the waiting room. They never lived. But the person who studies philosophy, who dedicates time to learning how to live, that person is ready at any moment. Death doesn't frighten them. Why would it? They've been practicing for it their whole life. They've learned to let go. They've learned that virtue is the only good, that everything else, health, wealth, power, pleasure, those are indifferents. Nice to have, but not necessary for happiness. Stoic doctrine. Core belief. Seneca repeated it constantly. Virtue is sufficient for happiness. Period. You can be poor, sick, imprisoned, exiled, and still happy if you have virtue. And virtue is entirely in your control. Nobody can take it from you. Not emperors, not fortune, not death. If you value research this deep into ancient philosophy, subscribe. We don't just skim the surface. We go into primary sources, cross-reference ancient historians, track down the original contexts, and comment where you're watching from. Now back to Seneca's system. So how do you actually practice this? How do you take Seneca's understanding of time and make it work in your life? He gave specific instructions. First, stop giving your time to people who don't deserve it. Be ruthless. If someone wants an hour of your day, ask if it's worth an hour of your life, because it costs the same. Second, stop chasing things outside your control. You can't control whether you get promoted, whether you get rich, whether people respect you. You can control your effort, your virtue, your response to events. Focus there. Third, live each day as if it's your last. Seneca repeated this constantly, not in a reckless way. In an intentional way. If today was your last day, would you spend it scrolling social media? Would you spend it in a meeting about quarterly projections? Would you spend it worrying about what people think? No, you'd spend it on what matters. So spend it on what matters now, because one day, sooner than you think, today will be your last day, and you won't know it until it's too late. Fourth, reflect daily. Journal, think, examine yourself. What did you do today? Where did your time go? Did you use it well? Be honest, brutal. Don't hide from yourself. If you wasted the day, admit it. Then do better tomorrow. That's how you improve. That's how you stop making the same mistakes over and over. Fifth, study philosophy. Read the great minds, not just Stoics, everyone. Socrates, Plato, Aristotle, Epicurus, the cynics, the skeptics. Learn from them. Debate with them. Let their lifetimes add to yours. Seneca said they're always available. They never turn you away. They never waste your time. You can call on them whenever you want. Socrates will talk to you at 3 a.m. Aristotle will explain the universe. Epicurus will teach you about pleasure. The Stoics will show you how to overcome suffering. They're all waiting. All you have to do is pick up the book. And sixth, remember death. Every day. Memento mori. You will die. Everyone you love will die. Everything you build will crumble. That's not depressing. That's clarifying. It strips away the bullshit. It shows you what actually matters. Relationships, virtue, wisdom, growth, presence, not the promotion, not the bigger house, not what strangers think of you online, the real stuff. Now let's look at what makes Seneca's approach genius. It's not that he invented time management. People have been talking about using time well since humans could talk. It's how he structured it. He didn't just say manage your time better. He showed you the architecture of time, 3 periods, each with different properties, each requiring different approaches. The past is certain. Use it. Learn from it. Add to it by studying history and philosophy. The present is short. Live in it. Don't let it slip away while you're distracted or planning. The future is uncertain. Prepare for it, but don't live in it. Don't postpone your life waiting for it to arrive. That structure creates a complete system. Most people live entirely in the future, planning, worrying, postponing, or they live in the past, full of regret or nostalgia. The present barely exists for them. It's just transition time between yesterday and tomorrow. Seneca said, that's backwards. The present is the only time you're actually alive. The past can enrich you, but only if you use it consciously, studying it, learning from it. The future can motivate you, but only if you don't let it steal the present. And here's the deepest part. By understanding time this way, Seneca solved the problem of mortality. Death stops being terrifying. Because if you're living fully in the present, using your time well, learning constantly, growing, then you're already squeezing maximum value out of every moment. You're already living a long life, even if you die tomorrow. Seneca wrote that a person who dies at 30 but lived well has lived longer than a person who dies at 90 and wasted every day. Length isn't measured in years, it's measured in life, in presence, in meaning. That's why when Nero ordered Seneca to kill himself, Seneca could do it calmly. He'd been preparing his whole life. He'd studied death, thought about it, written about it. He knew it was coming eventually. Everyone's does. So when the soldiers arrived at his villa with the order, he didn't panic. He didn't beg. He cut his veins. When that was too slow, he cut more, took poison. When that didn't work, he went to the bath. And the whole time he talked to his friends, dictated his thoughts, stayed present. Because he'd practiced presence for decades, he'd lived in the moment for so long that even his death was just another moment. Not special, not terrifying, just the next thing. And then it was over. Pompeia Paulina, his wife, tried to die with him. She was younger than Seneca, strong, but she loved him and she didn't want to live without him. She cut her wrists. The blood flowed. But Nero found out and ordered his soldiers to save her. They wrapped her arms, stopped the bleeding. She survived, but she was never the same. Tacitus wrote that her face stayed unusually pale for the rest of her life. The blood loss left her permanently marked. But she honored Seneca's memory. She lived out her years carrying his legacy. The date was 65 AD. Seneca was around 69 years old. He'd lived through 4 emperors, been exiled to Corsica for 8 years under Claudius, been recalled by Agrippina to tutor young Nero, served as Nero's chief advisor for 8 years, then watched Nero descend into tyranny, watched him murder his own mother Agrippina in 59 AD, watched him kill his wife Octavia, watched Rome burn in 64 AD and Christians get blamed. By 65 AD, Seneca had seen enough. He'd asked to retire multiple times. Nero always refused. Then the Pisonian conspiracy happened. Gaius Calpurnius Piso, a well-liked senator, plotted to assassinate Nero. Over 40 men were implicated. The plot was betrayed. Nero went on a purge, executions, forced suicides, banishments. Seneca's name came up. Maybe someone named him to save themselves. Maybe Nero just wanted him gone. Either way, the order came. Die. The tribune of the Praetorian Guard, Granius Silvanus, brought the message. Seneca was at dinner. Silvanus delivered the order. Seneca tried to explain he had nothing to do with the conspiracy. Silvanus rode back to Nero with that message. Nero sent him back. Just kill yourself. Silvanus took the long route the second time. He'd been one of the conspirators himself. He didn't want to do this, but orders were orders. He arrived. Gave the final message. Seneca complied. His death was recorded by Tacitus in Annals 15, sections 60 through 64. Tacitus was born around 56 AD, so he wasn't there personally. But he would have talked to people who were, or who knew people who were. The account has detail, specificity. The comparison to Socrates' death is explicit. Both philosophers, both sentenced unjustly, both accepting death with calm, both taking poison, both dictating their final thoughts. Socrates died in 399 BC. Seneca died in 65 AD, 464 years apart. Same script, same philosophy, same result. And here's what survives. Seneca's writings, his letters to Lucilius, 124 of them, his moral essays, De brevitate vitae, De tranquillitate animi, De constantia sapientis, De ira, De clementia, De beneficis, his natural questions, his tragedies, all of it survived the fall of Rome, survived the Dark Ages, got copied by monks, got rediscovered in the Renaissance, got translated, got read, still getting read today. 2,000 years later, we're still studying what he wrote about time, because he was right. Life isn't short. We make it short. We waste it on things that don't matter. We postpone what does matter. We live in expectancy instead of immediacy. We let other people steal our hours. We chase things outside our control. We never stop to examine what we're doing or why. And then we die. Unprepared, regretful, having barely lived. But it doesn't have to be that way. You can choose differently. Right now, today, not tomorrow. Today, you can start journaling tonight. You can pick up a book by a great philosopher tomorrow morning. You can say no to the meeting that wastes your time. You can stop scrolling. You can be present with the person in front of you. You can remember you're going to die and let the fact clarify what matters. You can stop living in the future and start living in the present. You can annex the past by learning from those who came before. You can make your short life long by living every day fully, consciously, intentionally. That's what Seneca taught. Not theory, practice. Not someday. Now, the genius isn't in the complexity, it's in the clarity. Time has 3 parts. You waste 2 of them by default. The present slips by unnoticed. The past sits unused. The future consumes your attention. Reverse that. Use the past, study it, learn from it, add it to your life, live in the present, fully, completely, without distraction. Prepare for the future, but don't live there. Don't postpone, don't wait, do it now. And when death comes, whenever it comes, you'll be ready. Because you won't have wasted your time. You won't arrive at the end full of regret, wondering where your life went. You'll have lived, actually lived. Days filled with presence, with learning, with growth, with meaning. That's a long life, whether it lasts 30 years or 90. That's what Seneca figured out. That's what he practiced. That's what he died demonstrating. 20 years after his death, Tacitus wrote about Seneca. The accounts vary on whether Seneca was truly stoic or just claimed to be. He was enormously wealthy while preaching simplicity. He advised Nero while Nero committed atrocities. He talked about virtue while navigating brutal politics. Those contradictions troubled people then, trouble people now. But here's what's not debatable. When the moment came, when Nero ordered him to die, Seneca faced it exactly as his philosophy prescribed. Calm, present, prepared. He'd spent his life learning how to die. And when the test came, he passed. His body was cremated without funeral rites, Nero's order. But his words survived, his letters, his essays, his system for understanding time, and people kept reading, kept studying, kept applying his insights. The Renaissance rediscovered him. The Enlightenment studied him. The 19th century debated him. The 20th century psychoanalyzed him. The 21st century applies him to productivity and mindfulness and life optimization. Different labels, same core insight. Time is your only real possession. Use it. Don't waste it. Live now, because now is all you have. The past is gone. The future doesn't exist. The present is short, but if you live fully in each present moment, you expand time. You annex the past through study. You prepare for the future through action. You transcend the boundaries that limit everyone else. That's the genius. Not rocket science, not complex, just true. And 2,000 years hasn't changed it. You're still going to die. Your time is still limited. You're still wasting most of it. The difference is, now you know. Now you can choose. Now you can change. Or you can keep scrolling, keep postponing, keep planning for tomorrow. Keep giving your time to people and things that don't matter. Keep arriving at the end of each day wondering where it went. Keep living in that imaginary future where you'll finally have time to do what matters. Keep being busy with nothing. Keep existing instead of living. And in 40 years or 60 years or tomorrow, you'll reach the end, and you'll realize too late that Seneca was right. Life wasn't short. You made it short. You had time. You wasted it. The choice is yours. It's always been yours. Seneca wrote De Brevitate Vitae in 49 AD. It took him maybe weeks to write. Those weeks changed how humans think about time. He didn't waste those weeks. He used them. He created something that lasted millennia. What are you creating with your weeks? With your days? With your hours? What are you adding to the timeline of human knowledge? What are you learning? Who are you becoming? Are you present? Are you living? Are you ready? In 2025, Seneca's words hit harder than ever. We have more distractions than Seneca could have imagined. More ways to waste time. More ways to postpone. More noise. More busy work. More pressure to be busy. More expectancy. More living in the future. More fear. More anxiety and less presence. Less reflection. Less wisdom. Less time actually lived. The technology changed. The human problem didn't. We're still the same, huh? Still mortal. Still wasting our time. Still complaining life is short. Still wrong about why. Seneca saw through it. He gave you the answer. He showed you the architecture. He lived the example. And he died proving it works. Not through theory, through practice. When Granius Silvanus arrived with Nero's death sentence, Seneca didn't break, didn't beg, didn't panic. He faced it. Because he'd been practicing every day, every night in his journal, every letter to Lucilius, every essay on mortality, every meditation on time. All of it was preparation for that moment. And when it came, he was ready. His wife wasn't. She tried to die, but was saved. His friends wept. But Seneca stayed calm, present, in control, living fully until the last breath. That's not just philosophy, that's proof. You can learn to live. You can learn to face death. You can master time by understanding its structure. You can expand your brief life into something vast by annexing all of history, all wisdom, all the great minds who came before. You can stop wasting the present. You can stop fearing the future. You can start now, right now. This moment, not the next one. This one. In 65 AD, in a steaming bath in a villa outside Rome, a 70-year-old philosopher closed his eyes for the last time. The water was hot. The steam was thick. His blood had drained slowly from his arms and legs. The poison hadn't worked. But finally the suffocation came, and Seneca stopped breathing. His consciousness, that brilliant mind that had studied time so deeply, went wherever consciousness goes. His body was burned. His legacy lived. 2,000 years later, in a world of smartphones and social media and instant everything, we're still reading what he wrote, still learning from him, still trying to understand what he understood about time, still failing to apply it, still wasting our days, still postponing our lives, still living in expectancy instead of immediacy. Still afraid of death because we never learned how to live. But some will read this and change. Some will understand. Some will stop wasting time and start using it. Some will journal tonight. Some will pick up Seneca's letters tomorrow. Some will live immediately instead of eventually. Some will remember death and let it wake them up. Some will become wise by studying wisdom. Some will add centuries to their short lives by learning from the past. Some will arrive at death prepared, having actually lived. Those people will prove Seneca right. Life is long if you know how to use it. In 70 AD, roughly 5 years after Seneca's death, Pliny the Elder mentioned Seneca's suicide in his natural history. In 115 AD, Tacitus wrote the detailed account in his Annals. In 120 AD, Suetonius mentioned it in his Lives of the Caesars. In the 4th century, early Christians claimed Seneca had secretly converted, though there's zero evidence for that. In the 13th century, the Golden Legend included his death story, adding false details like Nero witnessing it. In the Renaissance, his works were rediscovered and widely read. Francis Bacon admired him, Montaigne quoted him, Pascal studied him. In the 17th century, painters depicted his death. In the 18th century, philosophers debated his ideas. In the 19th century, Nietzsche criticized him. In the 20th century, Foucault analyzed him. And now in the 21st century, productivity gurus package his wisdom into TED Talks and life hacks and morning routines. But the core remains. Time has 3 parts. The past is certain. Use it to learn. The present is short. Live in it fully. The future is uncertain. Prepare for it, but don't live there. Stop postponing. Stop wasting. Stop giving your time away. Start living immediately. Start studying wisdom. Start being present. Start remembering death. Start now. Because in the time it took you to hear this, minutes of your life passed. Gone forever. You can't get them back. Fortune can't control what's already passed. But those minutes are either in your column as time well used or time wasted. That choice was yours. Every choice is yours. Every moment, every day, every hour. Seneca can't live your life for you. He can only show you how. He did show you. 2,000 years ago. In clear, direct, brilliant prose, he wrote it down, made it last, made it available to anyone willing to read it. And then he lived it, and died proving it. His life was cut short at 69, but by his own definition, he lived long, because he used every moment. He was present, he studied, he grew, he taught, he wrote, he prepared, and when the end came, he was ready. Are you?